Hello, everyone. Welcome to Beyond Life Paranormal Podcast. I'm your host, Russell Reynolds, and we're here on a Sunday night. A little odd for everybody. We had some technical difficulties last weekend with a feedback loop, so um, managed to get it fixed last night. So that's why there was a replay up. So I figured we'd do a show tonight. Before we get into it, we're gonna plug a couple events that we're gonna be at. Um, Our first one coming up. Hi, Sandy. Welcome in, and everybody who's watching right now. We are going to be at the Paracon in Caney, Kansas, Border Town Paracon. Um, my dad and I will both be there on September 27th. We are both panelists there, so we will be talking on a panel while we're there. So come out and see us. Our friend Vixen Paranormal will be out there as well from Texas. So our friend David Glidden and several other vendors, UFO researchers. I guess there's cryptid researchers that are going to be there, readers, all kinds. It's free admission, so come on out and check that out on September 27th down in Caney, Kansas. And come say hi to us. We'll have the equipment out on the table so you can look at. Come talk to us about our podcast, residentials, demonology. So we hope to see you all there. Our next one that we're going to be at is Rock Island after that. So my dad and I will both be there on October 4th. We are down in the basement with Nesper and several other paranormal teams. Hey, Sam, welcome in. And so come see us out there. Like I said, we'll be down in the basement with our family. Annabelle will be there, the Warren's Occult Museum. So my family will be there with the museum. It's $55 add-on ticket to see the museum. So come on out, see Annabelle, get your pictures with Annabelle. You're perfectly safe. I know the Nesper guys will all be there. Ryan Buell's also going to be there. I know Father Bob Bailey, I think, is going to be there as well with Nesper. And it all starts on Friday night. You can $40 ticket. You can sit around the campfire and listen to spirit squatches and stories around the campfire with a special edition CE5, which are UFO alien researchers. Admission is $5 general admission. You get your tickets on extremeticketing.com. And if you're also interested in volunteering, reach out to Candy Slater or Sarah from Get Haunted. And if you're interested, I know they're still looking for a few vendors, 2 vendors and volunteers, I believe. So reach out to them if you're interested. So before we get in the show, I'm going to play you a little video that I made for my commercial for the Rock Island Pair. That was my little commercial for Rock Island Paracon. So we're going to go ahead and get into the show. Our first one we're going to be talking about is a cryptid. It is known as the Bat Squatch. and it was it's a flying cryptid that was reported in the 1980s around Mount St. Helens, and it resembles a flying primate similar to the ahul and the orang of Southeast Asia, and its name is a portmanteau derived from the words bat and Sasquatch. A witness allegedly took several pictures of the creature, however, these pictures have not yet been analyzed and thus cannot prove the creature's existence. The description of this creature is was said to have yellow eyes, dog-like muzzle, blue fur, sharp teeth, bird-like feet, and leathery bat-like wings that span up to 50 feet. In addition, Bat Squatch is said to be 9 feet tall and has the ability to affect car engines. Japanese books and websites sometimes describe Bat Squatch as being 22-foot tall, which is also equivalent to 7 meters tall. But this is probably the mistranslation, as no bat squatch of that size has ever been sighted. Sightings of the bat squatch began in 1980, shortly after the eruption of Mount St. Helens. Reports from this period describe it as a monkey like creature with red eyes and wings that fly through the plume. On April In April of 1994, Brian Canfield was driving in Washington Pierce County when his truck suddenly died. Canfield said a large creature landed in front of him. He said it was human like, 9 foot tall, with bat like wings, and also sported a coat of blue fur. As Canfield's report became well known, a series of news reports followed. A person named Butch Whitaker reported that he was in a private plane in the vicinity of Canfield's encounter with the bat squatch and encountered a flying bat squatch. In 1998, a driver of a truck hauling logs in northern Oregon reported a collision with a bat squatch. The bat squatch seen at this time was described as 15 foot tall, with purple eyes and nose and small wings. In 2009, near Mount Shasta in California, several hikers witnessed a huge creature with legendary wings spanning 50 feet fly out of a crevice in the mountains. At first, an eyewitness described the creature as having a head similar to a pterodactyl. However, upon reconsideration, the witness claimed it was more akin to a flying fox bat. In June 2011, Phoenix tigress Sydenham was in his yard walking his dog. He went to pick up the dog when he saw something in the sky. He said the following: I saw something flying in the sky. It had bat wings, blue fur, and had a face similar to eyes glowing red. It was about 9 feet tall, and at least after I watched it, just flew away. On April 14th, 2014, the Archbishop Hoboken High School in Akron, Ohio, a second period Spanish class spotted a giant black mass zip by the window of the classroom at incredible speed. The class claims it was about 9 feet tall with a 20 to 30-foot wingspan. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, that is pretty tall. What do you guys think? I mean, a bat squatch? I mean, I've heard of Sasquatches, but, and I mean, people cite it, but nobody's ever analyzed the pictures, and I wonder why. That this guy caught pictures of it, but nobody's ever analyzed it. Kind of like got swept under the rug. That's what I'm wondering, if it's similar to Mothman, because Mothman's supposed to be, but Mothman's a little smaller than what they're describing as this creature is. Um, that's what I don't get, is why, if it is similar to Mothman, why it's so much bigger. and it comes out of Mount St. Helen, which is a volcano. So is it transdimensional, like paranormal, or is it similar to like a Sasquatch? But they do say Sasquatches are paranormal as well. They come from another dimension, and this thing's known to stop cars and kill engines, and but there no reports of it attacking anybody. So yeah, that's a little odd about that. So that's pretty much what all I could find on that bat squatch. There's not really much information on that, except for what I found on it doing research. Those were the only few sightings that it's been spotted, and it hasn't been spotted again since. So next one we're going to talk about is the gray aliens, and let me get a picture of it up here. These are what they're supposed to look like, gray aliens. Um, and these are ones you see a lot of memes that they make out of the aliens as well. But I guess these are actually a legit alien. Gray aliens, also referred as grays, are depicted as dark to pale gray skinned humanoid aliens that are generally described as having a lack of external human organs such as nose, ears, or reproductive organs. These beings are occasionally dubbed Zeta Reticulans or Roswell Greys, which is interesting. A description of them: their bodies are usually depicted as being long and lacking in muscle. Their legs are shorter than what one would see in a human. Their limbs are often depicted as being different from humans, with their humerus and thighs being the same length as their forearms and shins. Greys are said to have oddly large heads compared to their bodies. They're also said to have absolutely no hair anywhere on their body, including facial hair or any other type of hair, and no outer ears or noses, but only small openings for nostrils. They are said to have very large black eyes with no pupils. Also, reports and abductions claim they are very small, but there are exceptions, as some claim seeing large ones the size of a human or larger. And the Greys are commonly abduct sleeping victims from their beds and taken them away to strange, often horrifying places and experiment on them. These experiences are often, but unfortunately not always, forgotten by the victim when they wake up in their bed. Physical renders are often left on their bodies, such as bruising, surgical incisions, punctures, or mysterious triangular burns. These renders are often what turns the memory of the harmless nightmare into a cold, horrifying reality. Some abductees have said their captors took them to a nightmarish place where ungodly creatures exist, detained in cells or brought up in nurseries, humans tortured in various ways behind every window, and far more unspeakable things. The Greys then threaten their abductees with such fates unless they comply. Greys are said to fly around in UFOs. They are said to have technology that is more advanced than ours. They also show a disturbing, shocking resemblance to the Wraith. Gray alien sightings make up over 40% of all reported alien encounters. Roswell, New Mexico, the site of the infamous Roswell UFO crash. On July 8th of 1947, in the town of Roswell, New Mexico, according to eyewitnesses and press release by the Roswell Army Airfield, a flying saucer had crashed in the desert. However, they changed the story quickly to a crashed weather balloon. Eyewitnesses still say they found a crashed flying saucer and dead gray alien pilots in the craft. This would become one of the most famous UFO and gray alien cases. Out of the wreckage, strange historic alien artifacts were supposedly discovered, described as I beam like structures that were 3/8 inch by 1/4 inch, none of them very long, but would neither bend nor break. Some of these I beams had indecipherable characters along the length in two colors. Stranger yet, a young local mortician received a call from a hospital inquiring about hermetically sealed, airtight coffins and also about the hopes of preserving a body that had been exposed to the elements for a few days without contaminating bodily tissue. These young morticians, then returning to the base hospital, noticed strange bits of wreckage protruding from military ambulances. He was later ordered to leave by military personnel. The weather balloon covered up was supposedly thrown together at the last second. On the matter, Brig General Thomas Du Bois, the Chief of Staff of the 8th Air Force, made this statement. It was a cover story, the whole balloon part of it. That was the part of the story we were told to give the public and news, and that was it. It is a subject of mystery what really crashed in Roswell that summer, but today, the town of Roswell is a tourist destination with many alien themed attractions. The Betty and Barney Hill abduction. Barney Hill's depiction of the aliens drawn under hypnosis. One of the most famous abductions by Greys happened to Betty and Barney Hill on the night of September 19th, 20th, 1961. They saw a UFO on September 19th of 1961 at around 10:30 p.m. The Hills were driving back to the Portsmouth from a vacation in Niagara Falls and Montreal, Quebec, Canada. They later saw the UFO fly above them and even saw the pilots. One pilot continued to look at Barney and was communicating and telling him to stay where you are and keep looking. After they returned home, they noticed strange things like that their watches had stopped. Barney noted that the leather strap for the binoculars was torn through, though he could not recall it tearing. Toes of his best dress shoes were in, in complicity scraped. Once they returned home, they mentioned how the drive should have been 4 hours, but it took them 7 hours. Betty had vivid dreams about the abduction. She said she had never had such odd dreams. This happened for 5 days. In a dream, she and Barney encountered men who surrounded their car. She lost consciousness. She then realized that she was being forced by two small human like creatures to walk in a forest in the nighttime. And seeing Barney walking behind her, she called to him, but he seemed to be in a trance or sleepwalking. The human like creature wore matching uniforms. They appeared like a normal description of a gray alien. Their skin was a grayish color. In the dream, she described how she and Barney were taken into a metallic craft with the help of a ramp. Once inside, she and Barney were separated, and she was told that if they were together, the experiments will take longer. As she entered the room, two new aliens appeared. The examiner told Betty that it would conduct tests to see the differences between humans and the craft's occupants. It examined her, cut some of her hair, and saved some of her fingernails. After examining her legs and feet, it then used a dull knife similar to a letter opener to scrape some of her skin onto what resembled cellophane. They punctured her with needles to test her nervous system and then told them to continue their drive. While under hypnosis, Betty accounted a very similar to the events of her 5 dreams about the UFO abduction, but there were also a few differences. Her capture and release story were different. The technology on the craft was different. The short men had significantly different physical appearance to the ones in her dreams. The order of the abduction events was also different to that in Betty's dreams account. She filled with many details that were not in her dreams and contradict some of her dream content. It is interesting that Barney and Betty's memories and hypnotic regression were still constant, but contradicted some of the information in early in Betty's dreams. Betty exhibited considerable emotional distress during her capture and examination. Dr. Simon ended one session early because tears were flowing down her cheeks. She was in considerable agony. There also have been reports of Greys using beams from their UFOs to paralyze people during abductions. Evidence the Skinny Bob mystery. In 2011, a YouTuber by the name of Ivan0135 uploaded 4 videos with gray aliens that are said to have been filmed in 1961, the same date as the Betty and Barney Hill abduction. At first, many people thought the videos were a teaser for an upcoming television series or film. However, that was disproven later on. The footage had been analyzed, and while there are many skeptics that doubt the video are real, many agree that it would be pointless to take a lot of time, effort, and money to make more than 4 videos, then disappear without a trace. Nobody has taken responsibility for creating the video since the disappearance of Ivan0135. His disappearance could be attributed to the government locking him out of his account, or possibly kidnapping him or convincing him to stay quiet. In the first video, UFO can be seen flying in the air before cutting into another clip where the same UFO can be seen crashing among multiple gray aliens, some dead, others alive. The individuals recording the footage is most likely a member of the government or military. The crash depicted in the video could be linked to the Roswell incident. In the second video, an alien is shown in what is presumed to be an interview. This alien, given the name Skinny Bob, is most likely a survivor of the crash in the first video. At the end of the video, what is most likely Skinny Bob is shown in what could be a mugshot. Third video is Ivan0135 talking about the skeptics who doubt that the information presented in the footage is legit. Ivan says that you are the ones who create your own misinformation. In the fourth video, which is known as Family Vacation, an incident is shown in which 3 gray aliens were filmed using a hidden device by a military member. It is said that in the video that the arrivals had been filmed against the treaty and without their consent. The video also states that the treaty mentioned prevented anyone from recording or photographing meetings held between gray aliens and the U.S. government. States that after the incident, the treaty was revised. This is the last video that was ever uploaded. It is possible that the contact between the gray aliens and the U.S. government ended after these documents were revised. However, it is also possible that the government and gray aliens still cooperate today. Explanations. Some cases of gray alien abductions could be hallucinations or lucid dreams. An interesting idea is that gray aliens are humans from the future that have evolved and traveled back in time to study the past. Some theories claim that the Greys and the U.S. government are working together. In a trade-off, the gray aliens handed the U.S. government select technological blueprints in exchange for amnesty to abduct human beings and conduct experiments on them. Some even go as far as to claim that there is a top secret base on Earth known as the loose space where the two work together on projects related to genetic engineering and mutation, particularly on humans. It is a leading theory that the Greys abduct and experiment on humans in an effort to keep the Grey species alive, since it is apparent that they have no reproductive organs. Many women claim to have their unborn child stolen from them and then presented to them after being infused with Grey DNA. These Grey human hybrids also look much like us that would never be able to spot the difference. These hybrids may have even existed on Earth right now, co-inhibiting on streets and cities. Do the UFO and alien believers know something we don't? Do gray aliens see humans as their last hope of preserving their species, or could it be the Greys are just curious bunch and enjoy experimenting on humans? It has even been proposed that humans are a food source for these interstellar travelers. Another question, are we aliens ourselves? It has been a long time before we know the true answer, but it does seem that we humans have something the Greys want if they exist. They have become the subject of memes on the internet. Hoax. Some people report that they have caught supposed alien craft on camera at various times. Most turn out to be a hoax done by special efforts or props. The alien interview. Videos were made about an alien interview by many things and were sent to the Bill's channel. Bill Day and Robert Kiviat concluded that the video itself was fake and that the alien was computer generated. However, they also said the message presented in the video should be acknowledged. Religion. Gray aliens are anagnostic force and several UFO religions, including the Polish Doomsday cult. Mis- I won't be able to pronounce that name. It's Miedzynardowe, Centrum Odani Lucy, Izemi Atravis, and a branch of Russian Yangelism proposed by the controversial Polish archaeologist Franz Zolowski. In both of these religions, Greys are an evil antagonistic force. In Antravis beliefs, they are allegedly following and killing humans to harvest their organs, especially male genitalia. In the Yangulist beliefs, the Frankie Zolowski, they are responsible for destroying a race of powerful aliens known as Aurora Slavs, regressing them back to Slavic people we know from history and forcing Christianity upon them. In popular culture, gray aliens are featured in the popular trading card game MetaZoo, Cryptid Nation, and a brand new book called Roswell Johnson Saves the World. There were a couple of gray aliens, and two of them were in the main characters. One of them is named Nert, and the other is Beat. The gray aliens are also featured in sci-fi horror film called No One Will Save You, where they were featured as the main antagonist hunting down this girl named Brian. However, after seeing her tragic memories, they decided to spare the gal and give her life. And that's what I found on the Great Aliens. The implant they are putting in me, my DNA is changing. Yeah, I mean, they're seem to be abducting people just to experiment on them, and because, like it says, they have no reproductive organs, and I mean, what is getting covered up out there when it comes to regarding these guys? I mean, they're people are getting abducted by them and getting some harmful things done to them. The aliens I seen were short, skinny, and solid black. There were five of them, three small ones about the size of 2-year-olds and two bigger ones about the size of 5-year-olds. And seeing that's what I'm wondering if they just they're good at disguising themselves, like they say they're among us on the streets. Kind of makes me think back to that Roddy Piper movie, They Live, where he had to have the special sunglasses to see which ones people were the aliens. So it kind of makes you think of that too when you come down to it, if that's what that movie was based on as well. And so we're gonna move on to another one. So before we do, what else do you guys think about these gray aliens? What do you think they could be? I mean, the Russians believe they're evil, that they're something demonic or something. I mean, I've talked to several people. I have a buddy, Rupert Guy, that was part of CE5. He goes out and he actually meditates and is able to communicate with them and call them down. And he's been backed up by paranormal teams. But another research that I've learned about them, there's a lot of radiation with them too. That's why when you have a UFO sighting or stuff like that, you use a Geiger meter and you'll pick up radiation with a Geiger counter. So yeah, Rupert Guy also told me too. Yeah, they do speak English, but they don't talk kind of like how you and I do because they have no vocal cords. But you can understand them when they talk. So, so we're gonna move on to our next one. This one is a little interesting. It's actually a supernatural being. Um, when they realized I wasn't awake, I went out. Okay, yeah. Um, so our next one we're gonna talk about this creature right here. It's a supernatural being. Um, it is called the Janglot, and it's supposed to be a supernatural creature, and it's very dangerous. Um, here is another picture of it. This one is a dried out figure of it. Um, and this was the drawing that someone did of it. So a little history on them. The Jenglot is a type of it's like a ghoul or a jinn in the Indonesian culture and mythology. It's described as looking much like a tiny living human doll. It is usually depicted as a mythical creature, sometimes seen in cryptozoology, and occasionally purported to actually been a human body. Its appearance also resembles the Medusa of Greek mythology. The Jenglot is believed to be found in Indonesia, especially in Java. They're mostly found by natives after they have performed a supernatural ceremony. Jenglots are said to be found anywhere under the ground, on a wrecked house roof, or even in the trunk of a huge tree. Feeding the Jenglot, Jenglot keepers feed their creatures with blood, either animal blood, goat, or human blood. Those who feed the creatures with human blood by it legally from the Indonesian Red Cross. The Jenglot is said to not drink the blood directly. The person the blood by places the Jenglot near the blood. By the Jenglot doesn't seem to even move or touch the blood. It is said to that the Jenglot will get the nutrients of the blood in their own way. Some say the Jenglot comes alive and consumes the blood when it is alone. Exhibition in Indonesia, there have been several exhibitions of Jenglot specimens found and showcased. Most are found on the islands of Java and Sumatra and are held as private collections of supernatural researchers and fans. Many were found to be hoaxes, being masterful taxidermist fixings of monkeys and fish. However, not all specimens were examined, and the Jenglot is an actively believed myth that many natives believe to be real. People who have caught the Jenglots usually bring their creatures all over Indonesia to exhibit them in order to gain some money. Becoming a Jenglot's artists' interpretations of the Jenglot, according to the Indonesian legend, Jenglots was an architect who wanted to learn the Ilmu Bathara Kangrang, or the way of the eternal life. It is also said to be a hermit who worships demons and gains a certain power and ability. They say if the person with great supernatural power meditates in a certain cave, they'll become a Jenglot. And that's all the info that I found on the Jenglot, which is a crazy creature. I mean, I wouldn't want to go into a cave and do that and become one of them creatures, especially if they believe them to be evil. And I mean, why would you want to keep something like that, like the natives do? I mean, especially there's one of them right there that they keep. I mean, and you see, it's got like human hair and everything, and human eyebrow hair, and but it looks like it's got like monkey fangs and stuff like that. I mean, that's a little crazy. I mean, I wouldn't want one of them in my house, let alone if I lived over in Indonesia having one of them. What do you guys think? What is your input on this creature looking thing? I mean, you can see that one's got a human skull, like human skeleton hands and a human body. So, which I've never dealt. Like I said, they're native to Indonesia. So, if anybody from Indonesia is watching, feel free to chime in the chat because I know you guys believe in that in your culture out there. I'd love to learn more about these things. So, anybody else has any questions, feel free to throw them up, or we're going to move on to our next one because we're only going to do an hour tonight. So, um, yeah, that's I haven't either until I started doing some research on them last night. I come across the picture of it, so I started researching it, wanted to learn more about it. I mean, I wonder the spirit of it. How would you cleanse something like that? How would you get rid of it? I mean, it's not like you can take the vessel and just burn it. Puck a wedgies, right? I mean, yeah, this thing come terrifying you, and I mean, it likes blood, and they feed it blood of humans and goats. I mean, what's that not stopping it attacking a human? Be sleeping at night when you're by yourself and it comes alive and decides to come out and wants to play while you're sleeping. I mean, I wouldn't want to deal with something like that. So our next one we're gonna move on to, and all you paranormal investigators will know this one because we deal with a lot of it in the paranormal field. Batman, the hooded figure. We're gonna talk about shadow people, which is a one of the most misunderstood entity in the paranormal field is shadow figures. Some believe there's mixed beliefs about shadow figures that some are bad, some are good. I mean, we've seen some that didn't even do nothing to us. Some believe they're demonic, because they're, and I think because of them being black, that's why they get that misconception that they're demonic. So, shadow people are reported worldwide, and since the beginning of recorded history, shadow people seem to be living shadows. They are usually seen out of the corner of people's eyes. Some people see semi transparent dark splotches. They vanish as soon as people realize what they saw. When people see shadow people, a feeling of despair and fear overcomes them. There have been some reports of people being attacked or chased by these shadows. Appearance of a shadow figure: the shadows are usually larger than a normal shadow, and notably don't resemble the shadow of a person sighting it. They are often reported as moving with quick, jerky movements, quickly disintegrate into walls or a mirror. They range from being mist-like to being completely solid like a regular human. Though this is not true of all shadow figures. Some of them may possess eyes, and the eyes vary in color, and they are classified as having certain traits of behavior based on the color of their eyes. Although this list is still being documented, it is known that the white-eyed shadows are typically faster, more logical, and much more still. And they are believed to be behavior they believe to be evil and aggressive in nature, although few people consider them to be a form of guardian angel. A shadow person's behavior tends to vary, suggesting that they may be as varied as regular people. Some report that when looked at in the chest or eyes, they emit a loud scream that sounds like a screechy static, loud winds, or creaking wood. They're often they often cause their victims to feel unable to move and stare at them in silence, rarely ever speaking. Sometimes they will even in their sit on their chests. Many are spotted within hospitals or otherwise near those who are dying. Now we're going to come into one of the well-known figures, Hat Man, that a lot of people see. One commonly seen shadow person is known as the Hat Man. He has been reported worldwide with very few variations in overall appearance and behavior. Appearance: the Hat Man is a solid black man, sometimes with a red or black eyes, with a wide-rimmed hat, usually reported to either be a Zorro hat or a fedora, and a long trench coat, sometimes cape. Unlike other shadow people, he is generally seen as much more physically solid. He is sometimes reported to have a goatee or be clean shaven. Some reports claim he has no face at all. The behavior of Hatman: those who see the Hatman report feeling a sense of malevolence coming from him, and he seems to show curiosity towards witnesses. He seemed to take great pleasure from the fear of witnesses. Some witnesses have gone as far as to claim him to be the devil. And then other types of shadow people spotted include the hooded monk, black smoke mist people, shadow animals, peeking shadows, usually child sized, red eyed shadows, generally more malevolent. Explanation: shadow people could be more hallucinations or perhaps figment of the witness's imagination. This seems likely considering the Hat Man. Another theory suggests that they could be time travelers. This suggests that time travelers are not perceivable for human beings, but now we're beginning to become more aware of time travel, resulting in the visibility of the shadow people. This theory is quite possible as shadow people sightings have been going on for many, many years. Many However, the most likely explanation is that they are another case of pareidolia. Note: if you sense violence in a shadow person, run. And that's what I got on shadow people. Yeah, it takes a lot of energy to manifest a shape other than black. I agree on that. They need a lot of energy to do a lot of stuff, even communicate with us. My friend has trouble with this hat man. Been with her since she was a baby. She said he doesn't harm her, but appears and just stares, no face. I've seen shadow people. Yeah, I've seen them too. I mean, you probably heard current viewers that watch the show all the time probably heard me talk about the case my dad and I did in Oklahoma, where that black figure that was over 6 foot tall appeared on one of our DVR cameras in the hallway, and it was causing a static impulse in that camera. And then I went back there and checked it out, and it come running at me when it dropped down to 5 feet tall, and then 3 scratches appeared on my arm, which I still have scars from, and they were like razor blade scratches. So, and that was a black shadow figure and it would look like the hooded shadow from what I saw. It wasn't Hat Man. It had the cloak head, the robe on, which was a demonic entity because I was displaying something religious around my neck that had been blessed. So, I mean, some of them are bad and some of them aren't. I mean, another one you probably heard me talk about, the hotel that we stayed at in Rockport, Missouri, that was abandoned that we were investigating. My dad and I decided to stay the night while the rest of the team went to a hotel, and we stayed in the storefront. And about 3 o'clock in the morning, when the generator kicked off and it went pitch black, roughly about 3:30, my dad wakes me up and there's a black shadow figure standing in the doorway that was over 6 foot tall, and he just stood there and stared. Didn't do nothing. It just stared at us. So, and then it just disappeared as fast as it was there. It just disappeared. So, I mean, we get reports too of shadow people all the time too for residential cases, people seeing them in their houses and stuff like that. And I mean, we work with a lot of that and try to capture that. Seen one in the haunted movie theater that we do in the basement. We also captured it on camera, which actually looked like just the face of it, and it looked like it was wearing a Zorro-looking hat, like Hatman. But only it didn't have the black eyes or the red eyes. Its eyes were see-through. You could see back to the wall back there, and we tried to debunk it I thought maybe the camera IR was casting something on the wall, a shadow, and it wasn't. Oh, well, yeah, that was a bad case in Oklahoma. The guy was doing demonic worshiping in his home, and he had 2 little kids and a 19-year-old in there, and, yeah, that was a rough case, and, he, ended up reverting back to his old ways. He's back to practicing his darker stuff again, and, so but, yeah, that was a pretty bad case, and we seen a black Missouri State not too long ago here at the Get Haunted event, the book signing event, These Walls Still Talk, in, Cell House 3, which was Death Row. We seen my dad and all of us, we seen shadows, black shadow people going in and out of the cells. Cell House 4, same thing. You see black shadow people coming in and out of the cells and on the catwalks. And same with down in the dungeon when we shut the lights out down there. And this black shadow was directly right in front of me. And the guy that wrote the book, his daughter and him were right across from me, and his daughter's leg got touched. And it was by that black shadow that was standing right in front of us. And right after that's when that big ball of light appeared and lit up the whole cell block. And we thought Brian had lit a flashlight, the guy that wrote the book. And when it illuminated the room, he was hugging his daughter, and his daughter had her arms around him because she was scared. So, and it appeared right behind him, and I mean, how bright it was, you could see everybody that was in that group. All our faces, you could see us. That's why we thought somebody had lit a flashlight, and nobody did. And, so they were out there, but like I said, a lot of people believe them to be evil. Not all of them are evil. I mean, some of them are good. And it may be a human figure that's the only way he can manifest himself too. That's another theory to think about, that it may be a regular human spirit and that's all he can manifest to. Maybe when he was alive, he wore a lot of black. There's another theory to think about. He wore a lot of black clothes when they were alive. So maybe he or she is resembling them wearing black clothing. Same way Hatman, that's what Hatman could have wore. If it was an actual living person at one time, that's probably what they wore. So, I mean, when we die and we go to the spirit world, I'm sure whatever we wear, because I mean, our personality stayed the same into the spirit world. Whatever we wear as far as clothing may be the same in the spirit world. So, there's another scientific theory to think about when it comes to that. If these shadow peoples wore black clothing or maybe they, I mean, look, when you die, maybe sometimes when you die, you died in some black clothing, and that was the last thing you wore when you were alive. So there's another theory to also ponder about too, as well, when it comes to that. So when they went to the spirit world and their spirit left their body, maybe they went in their black T-shirt, their black robe, or whatever they were wearing at that time. So So that gives you some food for thought to think about when it comes to that stuff too, as well. I mean, and I mean, like I said, not all black shadow figures are dark and demonic. Just because black is associated with evil, that's not exactly all true. I mean, yeah, there's some black that is evil, but not all black is evil. I mean, we wear black t-shirts. In fact, I'm wearing one now. So, I mean, and if you ever want one of these shirts, reach out to Jason McLeod on Facebook. That's a Ed and Lorraine Warren shirt. Um, he makes them, so reach out to him if you ever want a shirt like that. Ours are all mine's all autographed by Nesper and Ryan Buell, Keith and Carl Johnson, anybody that worked with Ed and Lorraine, and it's autographed by by my family too. So, um, but yeah, I mean that's something to think about too with the black shadow people. Maybe that's something they were wearing when they passed away. And I mean the robed one too. I mean, like I saw with the demonic part of it, maybe they were doing dark rituals and they were sacrificed and they died in that robe. I mean, when you're bad, when you're alive and you're dark, maybe you come back as a dark figure. So, well, we just hit our hour mark. We're gonna call an hour. I gotta work tomorrow, so um, I hope everybody enjoyed the show, and we will be back next week. Um, so now that I got all the technical difficulties straightened out, we'll be back on our normal time next Saturday. Um, if anybody's looking to be a guest on the show, feel free to shoot me a message on Messenger or our group page, Beyond Life Paranormal Research Missouri, Cold Spotters Missouri, or you can email me at beyondlifeparanormalresearch@gmail.com. Be sure to check out our pages. We are our YouTube page, Beyond Life Paranormal Research, the Missouri edition. We're on TikTok, BLPRMO. You can find us on Instagram at BLPRMO and Beyond Life Paranormal Research Missouri. Um, like I said, our Facebook page, Beyond Life Paranormal Research Missouri, Cold Spotters Missouri. Be sure to go check out our the Cold Spotters page, Cold Spotters British Columbia, which is Amanda Quill. Show her some support. We're part of that Cold Spotters family. And remember, if you're being bullied in the paranormal field, you have a voice. Don't be afraid to speak out. We'll listen to you. Nobody's better than anybody in this field. We're all the same. So, with that being said, everybody, God bless, and I wish you all a very good night and have a good week. And we will see you all next week. Same time, same channel. Have a good night. Sandy, thanks for coming in tonight. Jeanette, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in, Sam. You have a good night as well. Thank you to everybody else who's tuning in. Without you viewers, this show isn't possible. We thank you all for viewing each week and supporting us and continue supporting us. Um, so with that being said, everybody have a good night and God bless. And like I said, be sure to come check us out September 27th in Caney, Kansas at the Border Town Paracon. We will be out there and we are part of the panel out there, so we will be guest speaking. Come on out, support us, support Vixen Paranormal. She'll be out there with us. And then come out and see us October 4th at Rock Island. We'll be down in the basement with Ken 10 Paranormal, Empty Casket Paranormal, Nesper. I believe the Warren's Occult Museum is down there in the basement as well. I haven't heard for sure yet, but I know Nesper is down there in the basement with us. So, and the basement's the most haunted place of Rock Island. So be sure to come say hello, check us out, get a picture with us, stop by the booth. And with that being said, everybody have a good night. See you next week.